So when young people go to report cases of violence, for example, there is a service provider bias, if I may put it that way, that questions that have nothing to do with what has happened to me and everything to do with why were you there in the first place, as though the young people must operate in a certain confined space. But when I say the world was small then, I'm using that metaphorically because you only knew what you saw and what was within your sphere of influence, right? But today, a young girl sitting in my village knows what is happening in Nairobi. She knows what is happening abroad, even though she has not been there, because of internet, because of communication.
Hi, my name is Rachael Mwikali, and today I'm excited to be doing this podcast on human rights, gender equality, where we are focusing on the power of young people. And I'm joined by an amazing comrade, sister, and someone who has been working within the space for youth for a longer time. Welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Mwikali. My name is Evelyn Samba. I am the Executive Director at Youth for a Sustainable World. We abbreviate our name to YSW. We are a local organization, youth-centered, feminist organization, working with young people in Kenya, age cohort of 10 to 24. We are present in at least 15 counties in Kenya, in where we implement programs that look at expanding access to sexual reproductive health, advancing gender equality, and building sustainable livelihoods for young people.
If we look at the current challenges that young people are experiencing in Kenya and in the continent and even globally, what are some of the issues that you'll be able to highlight as the challenges that young people are facing within the different intersecting issues? Like the way you said, livelihood, the sexual reproductive health and rights, and even within the governance space.
Yeah, I think for many young people, when you talk to them, generally they'll say they have no access to employment or livelihood earning opportunities. And this is a big issue because many of them, because of that then, you find they're getting frustrated. A number of them, quite a good number of them, I should say, are well-educated, well-trained, but they lack employment. And they also lack access to resources to be able to start their own businesses. That's the first challenge. The second challenge, which is now the mainstay of YSW, is around access to sexual reproductive information and services. Young people all over the country, and I believe in much of Africa, will talk to you about the need for them to access youth-friendly services and information on their reproductive health. Because of that lack, we continue to see increasing teen pregnancies. We continue to see increased infections of HIV amongst young people, and we continue to witness gender-based violence amongst that age cohort. The other thing that we see as a main challenge for us is also, as I mentioned, gender equality concerns, that when you look at young men and women, young women are lagging behind in many spheres. They are struggling to get into schools and remain in schools, accessing and completing education, transiting into colleges is still a problem for many of them. And therefore, because of that then, majority of them are exposed to concerns around gender-based violence, for example. So many young people are getting married early. This is a major contributor to gender inequality because they then are excluded from the market. They are not able to get into employment, or even when they do, they are getting the lower end of the job market. So that excludes them from even personal growth, but also decision-making about their own lives, because when you are economically disempowered, you cannot make important critical decisions about yourself and about your health, for instance, about your life.
It's a big concern, and especially in an era where we are talking about sustainable development goals and some of the issues that you have risen, especially on SDG number 8 on decent work. And if you look within the context of Kenya and the labor movement in Kenya, they're inclusive of young people who are working, even if you look based on the laws. And now there's a new formation of a new sector that is online.
Yeah.
or people are using tech like Uber or online like a content creator. Are the laws inclusive to ensure that these young people also are trying to find their ways within the labor space to thrive?
I think even if the laws are inclusive, and perhaps we can debate that, I think other challenges still remain unaddressed. For example, how conducive, how safe, when you talk about online work, let me pick that, online work, so many young people are now exposed to technologically facilitated gender-based violence. So we have not succeeded in securing those spaces for them so that while they are doing their work, they are not open to exploitation, for example. They are also open to manipulation. I think competition is also very high amongst people working online. And I think a number of the young people who are also going online to do work because they have not been trained on how to secure their livelihoods, even when they do earn income, because they are not financially literate. A number of them are also not able to invest and build their hustles, let me use that word, right? Yeah, so they will make money today, but in a short while, because they're not able to invest that then is not long-lived. They also struggle to access credit. Many instances, people who provide credit either are exploiting them, or even when they do have access to it, the terms are not friendly to them. So those challenges continue to undermine young people's participation in the labor market. Of course, not to mention the fact that a number of them are going into the labor market without very little skills. And there's been a move to increase young people's uptake of technical skills, which I think is a good thing, so that then we get young people churning out of college with skills that they can then employ themselves and create work for themselves, provide services that would help them to earn a living as opposed to looking for work, looking to be employed. Yeah.
There's this like crisis happening that we have seen even within the gender justice around femicide, where we have seen a lot of young people, young women being killed in situation where a high-profile person, if they are killed, also the body of a young woman is being put as a collateral damage. And people in the public will keep on humanizing the man and not the woman who's also a young person. How do you see from your experience some of the strategies that we can use in mobilizing the public, shifting the narrative of blaming the survivors and victims of femicide?
Yeah, I think it's very unfortunate that this is happening at a time such as this, that we continue to victimize the victim, let me put it that way. That a young girl, never mind the circumstances under which she found herself in that place, she's now blamed for what has happened to her, instead of protecting them, instead of securing the spaces that they are participating in so that they are assured of their safety. And then going after the culprits. We see there's a lot of laxity in that. So for me, I think one of the major things that we can do, there could be a number, one of the major things that we must enforce is the law. We must also ensure that there is information out there about how, for example, young people can protect themselves when faced with such challenges. But reporting mechanisms, how sufficient are they? How responsive are they? If, as a public, we are quick to blame, then you would imagine even the justice actors are not helping matters. So when young people go to report cases of violence, for example, there is a service provider bias, if I may put it that way, that questions that have nothing to do with what has happened to me and everything to do with why were you there in the first place, as though the young people must operate in a certain confined space. So these are things that we need to look at very strongly and demand that there is accountability, that people do their jobs, and that we provide an assurance that I can walk out there as a woman in the public and not fear that I may be the next victim, right? Yeah.
Wow. Because you can see like the circle of oppression is moving from extrajudicial killings to now femicide. The same narrative I used to criminalize young people with extrajudicial killing now is being gendered towards the young people. And we are the majority of the voters in terms of number. So I would really want, like, for example, the way we are seated, Evelyn, And from your experience of work within this space, what have you seen as a success within the young people organizing that is different from your own organizing that time when you were a young person?
Yeah, I think even with all these challenges, I should point out that a lot has changed in the way young people relate, in the way young people access information, and in the opportunities to organize as young people and as institutions of young people. For example, now young people are able to come together in platforms that provide them the safety, for example, to talk about the concerns that they have. They are able to access information, unlike in the past. This is the age where almost everyone in Kenya has internet access. And therefore, if we're talking about getting information online, they're able to do that. They're able even to mobilize themselves and come together to share information. And I think that is what is different now. There is also a boldness that we see in the young people, which we admire. That young people now, and I would say perhaps it's because of the information they have, you don't take them for granted. You do that at your own peril. They have information, they reason with it, they can share it, and they can build conversations about it. And therefore, I think those are some of the things that we are seeing different today as opposed to in the past. And of course, let's also agree that the laws now are also quite proactive, let me put it that way, that we have laws that safeguard that. These are constitutionally guaranteed freedoms. And so that also is a major contributor to the kind of conversations we see happening in the public, despite the fears that we now know that there's also a lot of profiling for people who are coming out boldly. So young people are able to ask questions, and I think that should be encouraged a lot, because it's part of the accountability that we ask. We demand that we say we want people to be held accountable for when things are not working, for when things are expected and they're not being delivered. And that is something that is also very different now, that there is a very conscious effort by young people to ask and to demand answers. And we have no choice but to provide those answers.
Also, it's not easy work.
It's
tough work. It's work, it's beyond pay. It's passion. Demanding. What inspired you to do this work around young people?
So I should say that, of course, the career path that I took exposed me to such opportunities. But with time, it stops being just opportunities. It's, as you say, it's a passion. And the inspiration comes from when you look and see the changes that are happening, when you see what is changing because of what you're doing, when you see a new crop of people who are taking over the conversations and pushing the needle further. That is encouraging, that is inspiring. When I see that young people are, when given opportunity, they can actually come to take the space and hold the line for themselves and bring to the fore the issues that they want discussed and addressed.
So during your time when you're growing up, were you experiencing the same challenges my generation is experiencing? And if so, how did you navigate it? If not, what are the lessons that you have carried forward within this kind of space of young people organizing?
I think the challenges would be the same in one way or another, but perhaps they are more heightened.
Common? Like, what used to be different compared to now? Like you see, we didn't have AI. Now we have AI, we have no option.
I would say, can we say the world was small?
How small?
You know?
It was small now. It depends on which generation you are.
Not that one.
Because also a lot of young people during that generation were young people who were fighting for liberation.
But when I say the world was small then, I'm using that metaphorically because you only knew what you saw and what was within your sphere of influence, right? But today, a young girl sitting in my village knows what is happening in Nairobi. She knows what is happening abroad, even though she has not been there because of internet, because of communication. So I think that had a significant impact on how we understood our lives and how we engaged. But there was also a lot of silence about a number of things. You would find, for example, we took what we were told. We were told not to question. And I guess that's why, and we never questioned. And I guess that's why the adults today, we have a difficulty when young people are questioning.
Yeah.
Young people are demanding, they are saying, this is my right.
Yeah.
I don't know whether we were even talking about rights. I don't even know whether anyone told us.
And about also SRHR, sexual reproductive health and rights.
How do you even start? How do you start? Okay? And now, remember, those are now the parents that never talked about it, and now are expected to answer those questions. Is it any wonder, therefore, that our young people are saying, we want to know, we want to have this information, and the parents are thinking, no. The adults are thinking, no. This is going to expose you. The more you know, the worse off you are. Unlike the reality. The reality is, the more you know, the better off you are, because you make decisions from a point of knowledge. You make your choices with your eyes open. Unlike us, we didn't have the information, but we were growing up nevertheless, isn't it? We're experiencing what the young people are experiencing. So suppression, pretense, I think also could be there.
Yeah.
And so you navigate, life just happens to you that time.
Yeah.
So I think that silence...
So you find ways on how to be resilient, despite things were tough, but also at the same time are working. Yeah.
So that exposure or lack of it then, in a way, shielded us, because now we're operating from fear.
Yeah.
You would fear what you don't know. And that fear is what we are bringing now to this conversation as parents, as adults, that young people should not be told about their sexual reproductive health rights, for example, that they should not have information about their sexuality, because you are now sending them to go and have sex.
And not even healthy sex, just go and have sex.
Yes, which I have a problem with, because if we talked to them, they would know their options, and which is what YSW stands for. We believe that every young person has the right to make their choices and their decisions. They have the right to their health, and they have the right to exercise those rights. For that reason, therefore, YSW's view is that provide access to information, correct information for that matter, in a way that the young person would engage with it and understand it, so that they can make their choices from that point of knowledge. When they don't have information, they tend to rely on other sources. And you and I know. They go online, they check on ChatGPT, they Google their symptoms, they Google what not to do, what, you know. And sometimes it's not very correct. But they also ask their peers, by the way. And so peer influence comes in very strongly today, so that the one who has a little knowledge is the one disseminating it. And
they're not experts.
They're not experts. So what they had from whoever they had from, and of course along the way it is also lost and re-engineered. By the time it's getting to you, it's not necessarily correct. So those contribute to the struggles that young people are facing. So that's the difference now. And then we have options. I'm not sure whether anyone told us about the options for contraception, for example. If we're not talking about sex, how do we even get to talking about contraception? So today, young people, if given the information, they know that I can prevent pregnancy. This is how, isn't it? I can prevent transmission of HIV, and this is how, isn't it? Yeah. So those are some of the differences that we find between young people of today and those days when I was growing up. I would also say that today there is also plenty of spaces where young people can go for peer organizing. Now, courtesy of organizations like yours and mine, that we run spaces where young people, we call them youth empowerment centers, that young people come together, they learn either online or through training, peer-to-peer training on their sexual reproductive health and every other topic that they find necessary. And that is a source of information unlike in the past. We didn't have those spaces. So what you knew from whatever rumors you were getting is what we depended on, because even when you went to a parent, they would not be able to talk to you about it. And when to school, they're only talking about biology. All right? So now the spaces are...
reproductive health, not even sexual reproductive health and rights. And this is something like I would really love to hear your thoughts on that. During your time, you did not have this information. even in schools, or there are not many,
No.
let's say, quote unquote, progressive SRHR institutions. But were there like levels of high teenage pregnancy or unsafe abortion compared to now, where we are assuming, or there's this assumption, there's technology, there's civil society, there's community groups, but we still have cases of people going to public hospital being denied contraceptive.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if you're above 18, you're being denied contraceptive. We're having cases of also still family planning women being injected water and not the actual medication in 2026. Why this contradiction? We are still in a place where we are saying we want youth to have youth-friendly clinics, lots of investments, even with development partners to public hospital, but still many youth are not going because not that they don't want to go, but they are not friendly. They'll seek going to a quack or they'll seek going to AI instead of an expert. Why?
So we cannot we cannot understate the role of provider bias and our own mental models that we come with to the workplace, for example. So you are, as a young person before a health provider who believes very strongly that a young person should have no business having sex, they should be very, very busy reading and growing up. So you can imagine a young person presenting before such an officer and saying they would like to have knowledge, to be told about the options at their disposal. How would that conversation go? So that would be the first hindrance, the first bottleneck. But then, even within the facility, other challenges come in. For example, there's no privacy. You are queuing in the facility and you see your auntie and they're asking, are you unwell? What do you answer to that question?
Yes, I'm unwell. But you know clearly you're not unwell.
All right. So then she goes home to tell your mother, oh, so how is Mwikali today? Mwikali is okay. No, I found her in the hospital. Okay. So that chain becomes a deterrent that I'll go to the facility. There is no assurance that I will be met with a positive attitude by the provider, but that even the space in which I'm going to be served does not assure me of my privacy. And further down the line, there is also the likelihood that the contraception I want, the contraceptive method I want, may not be available. Okay? So imagine you summon the courage to go, deal with the provider with their bias, worry about the environment in which you're being served, and then finally when you go in, there is a stock out. So these are some of the challenges that young people tell us every time, that you know what, I'd rather go over a counter and buy from the pharmacist who doesn't ask me any question, isn't it? But we also know the risks there.
That's why access is also for people with money.
Of course. So number one is the barrier, the issue of access. How can you afford? Cost would be another challenge, even if you chose to go over the counter. But then there is another inherent problem there, that the provider there, the person serving you, let me call them that, does not take time to counsel you, to explain to you what you're exposing yourself to, the risks, why you should not be depending on this. This actually is not a method, isn't it? So they don't do that. So this young person is actually gambling with their life all through. Now, the question then we have to ask is why all these challenges? Even if, as you say, organizations, development organizations like ourselves are doing a lot, but still the challenge persists, we must also come back to the question of accountability and the duty bearer, who is the government. What are they doing? All right? How are they investing in ensuring that young people have access to youth-friendly services, as you put it, right? That the health workers are trained to deal with this age cohort, that the spaces are friendly enough, that those services are affordable and accessible. When we talk about the duty bearer and the responsibilities, it's also about the resources they're investing. We need, as a country, to start prioritizing our health, and especially sexual reproductive health, and stop depending on the neighbor.
And the neighbors have gone.
So you can imagine in your own home, the thing that you value most, you're counting on your neighbor to pass by and say, oh, by the way, take this, it may be of use. So I think the conversation should go up to how can there be greater prioritization of domestic investments by our governments. That's where the challenge remains. We have all things being prioritized except family planning, except SRH.
Yeah.
Yes, SRH.
Yeah.
And you would want to imagine that perhaps we could also point to the fact that, this could point to the fact that perhaps there is no connection between these big plans we have and sexual reproductive health. We are talking about the need for every child to be in school and transition into college and high school and whatever else. And we are building schools if we are, or employing teachers if we are. But the kids are not in school, they are falling pregnant, they are getting infected with HIV.
Yeah.
So these things that we are doing, these grand big plans we have a very close relationship to what is not going to happen if we don't deal with the sexual reproductive health of our people.
Yeah.
We are busy building roads.
And affordable housing.
Yeah, and those houses...
who will stay there if we are not also privatizing?
How are they going to even afford them when they are struggling to bring up children born of young mothers?
Yeah.
The young mothers today will not have the money to buy those houses because they're busy trying to earn a living to bring up their babies. So that, I think for me the challenge should then be, how do we bring it to the doorstep of government to understand and appreciate, especially legislators, that it's fine to invest in infrastructure and big development plans, but there is a core that if we don't address, we will not go far. We will not yield the results that we're expecting. Yes, we will have flashy, beautiful things, but the people who need them will either not be there or will be there. They'll arrive at those services while completely defeated. Yeah.
Yeah. So you brought up like a very also topic that is very key, even around SDG number 3 on health and wellness and well-being. And organizing from a feminist perspective, SRHR should be a priority with government, because if women are dying because of unsafe abortion, young girls, and in their own diversity, it means there's a population we are leaving behind and you're not inclusive. If we're having to choose between contraceptive and family planning, because also that's a big discussion within the youth, acknowledging if you go to a public hospital, you are told because you don't have kids, you're not giving you contraceptive. And you're forgetting that this young person, yes, they're sexually active, yes, they have taken other measures to prevent themselves from HIV, but at the same time, they're not ready to have children. And you're denying them as a government the right to make their choice. You're denying them on their bodily autonomy and integrity about their body. And you're trying to police also, it's also you're putting them in a way of also you're putting them on genocide. Because if you're going through unsafe abortion, it's a genocide. And if you look at the Constitution, it allows Article 26(4) that you can have abortion in the hands of a medical care. But if you see the contradiction, as much as it's allowed and the public hospitals are not friendly to young people, it becomes a challenge. When governments were signing the Abuja Declaration, they agreed that not any government will invest less than 15% of their health to in their annual budget. But you look even in Kenya during COVID, we did not spend more than 10%. So you ask yourself, if you're not investing on this, and now we have seen USAID pulling out, we're having stockouts on condoms, ARVs, and other SRHR products. We have seen Wellspring Philanthropic Fund closing down. So from your own perspective of organizing within the youth space, what do you see as an alternative method of ensuring that we safeguard the gain, but also looking in terms of opportunity of linking SRHR with health, with human rights, and also with gender justice work?
Yeah, so I think several things can happen there. You are right in saying that link must be drawn, so that we stop stigmatizing SRH or family planning. Because when it stands alone like that, in a manner that is not necessarily positive, it becomes a casualty when there is shortage. Yeah. So that could be the starting point. But I think that even as a country, we must also look at what other options do we have.
Yeah.
So we're talking about domestic investments by government. We must stop looking at donors for a bit. We must also look at how can we raise our own money as organizations, because many of us have suffered after following the cut by USAID, isn't it?
And even Wellspring.
Okay.
You're also a victim.
You are
of
a victim.
cutting.
And there's more coming.
Yeah, and there's more coming, even with government.
Yes. So the question should then be, well, how do we ensure sustainability for our work? How do we make sure that the work that we are doing, over and above getting funded by donors and our government investing after our advocacy, what else can we do? So looking at other opportunities, private sector funding. The private sector is beginning to come in to support. Look at how can we use, let's say, raise income or revenues from our own products as organizations. Do we have services that we can provide for pay, for example? And we are thinking a lot about this in OISW now, asking ourselves, what other way can we diversify our funding streams? Yeah. How can we raise income or resources from the knowledge that we have? Can we provide professional training, for example, and pay for it and charge for it? Do we have anything we can sell? Okay, so diversifying income earning streams, but also looking at opportunities for collaboration and partnership. I believe in the space that we work, you and I, there are things that you do that I can leverage on as an organization, still provide the services that I need. So that then partnership becomes not just a way of collaborating, but a way of subsidizing what would have required funding.
What will be your learning and advice if you look for the future on how we need to organize to fight this anti-rights, anti-gender movement that are coming after our gains, that are coming after our bodies, that are coming after to control everything that we own? Because also you can link the body with the land.
That's true.
Yeah,
I think we are in a very precarious situation. As you rightly put it, the anti-rights movement is very well organized and very well resourced. Better organized than ourselves in the civil society.
What prevents us to be organized?
So, I mean, we are competing. We should stop being competitive in a negative way, right? We should work more collaboratively.
But I think we collaborate.
Yeah, but let me ask.
It doesn't mean like the anti-rights, anti-gender. If you see some churches, now they're also fighting amongst themselves.
Okay, but I think it would do well for us to stand together against this force. Because it's not a fight that you will win as an organization and I will win as an organization. It must be the agenda that we take to that fight. We must also ask who is funding them. And unfortunately, we can also say that this is coming at a time when other priorities are also coming to the fore, even with traditional funders to the sector. But also increasingly we are seeing a lot of caution. Because the political tone around this topic is causing traditional funders to become shy, to become cautious in the way they interact, because they don't know what is going to happen to them. So no one wants to stick their neck out. So the question would be, how do we then counter that as a sector? And some of the questions we are talking about here are to do with organizing better. I think investing also in serious campaigns to counter the narrative. Because there's a lot of negative narrative out there, which, if we are not careful, is becoming the truth, because it's also very loud. We are very nice, talking about our nice gains. But will niceness help us? How else can we communicate? We need figures, we need facts, we need strategies that would then be loud enough to overshadow the noise that we are seeing and hearing. But also I want also to believe we still have a good number of allies whom we can also continue to count on. So how we then rally with them and fortify them to be able to push the agenda forward when they have those opportunities. I think that would also be something that we can do. Because some of the funders that we have remained steadfast in the conviction about women's rights, about the right to sexual reproductive health, gender equity. And so it is up us now to provide them with the muscle they need, with the information, with what is working, with what is changing, so that they can use that now to make a case, let me put it that way, for the agenda.
So now we are heading to election as we wrap up. Evelyn, based on youth factor, SRHR, what do you think from a governance perspective we should focus on as a campaign to ensure that we are, like, if you are holding an MC accountable, or if you're in a political party or a space that organizes on manifesto, that we should put in to ensure that we safeguard the gains, or even ask more on SRHR and youth?
I think some strategies around making sure that we influence the agenda. So a whole conversation about agenda setting. As you are presenting yourself, Mwikali, and saying, here I am, I want to run for office. We want to hear from you. What are your priorities? And then we tell you, we think, for us to support you, this is what
are the things, even you, like, if we were to support someone who is a president?
Assuming you are vying.
I'm vying, assuming I'm vying. If you wanted me to create a manifesto, you'll want it to reflect on which issues, like 3 of them?
I think we cannot ignore the concerns that young people have been bringing to the table all along. Young people are demanding accountable governance. All right? They are demanding that they want to be led and governed transparently. They want that the resources that are being used are used wisely. And that there is accountability for the things that are being done. So accountable governance would be one of them. We cannot ignore the fact that young people are continuing to say, we need this economy to work so that we can grow jobs. Not even to seek for jobs, grow jobs. If we have the skills, how is the environment supporting us to create work for ourselves? Okay? And then, of course, the same topic that I love to talk about, making sure that young people are at the decision-making table with the agendas that they find urgent. Many times we speak for them. I shouldn't be here speaking for young people. Young people should be here talking for themselves.
The way you have said it. And I hope also, as part of the young people you're working with, the agenda on SRHR should be set. Because it's true, like a lot of government, county, national government, when they want to throw away issue, they'll put family planning, SRHR issue as a by the way, or something that you need to pay more. Same as insurance, private insurance is the same. So I feel like it's important you have raised this issue, and that we can collectively put in SDG number 17, the power of partnership, to ensure that we're able to breathe in life and safeguard, as well as fight for what we believe in.
But sexual reproductive health and gender equality must be on that list.
On the core.
Oh, yes.
Very good.
Oh, yes. Because we see increasingly, and we were just talking before we started, about what we are seeing going on in the Republic right now. The attack on women, and young women at that. Attack on young people. Profiling. With the intention of causing people to give up and feel fearful, with at the risk of now the conversations going underground. Why should we be speaking about the things that concern us in whispers? Just because we are worried that we will be picked the next day. So I think those for me would be, if you are standing to be elected, if you are running.
But amongst the people want to set the agenda.
So I would say, as a matter of urgency, ask that person who's telling you, I want to lead you, I want to be given this position. Ask them what is on your mind about these issues. And then, depending on what they say, insist. We think this is what should be your priority. And if they resonate with it, and you think they are committed enough, yes. We are in a season where we will see all manner of promises being made. At the risk of sounding pessimistic, I think we now must be vigilant. And to ask questions and to demand that, first of all, to even interrogate the person who is this who's promising anyway. What do we know about them? What is their history with us? Because mercifully, we see lots of them being reincarnated, isn't it?
Yes.
Rebranding. So we should not forget. If you were here last year with a promise that you never fulfilled, we should take a pause and ask, why do we think you will now fulfill this one you're making today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Evelyn. And we appreciate your work and the work you do. And we usually say within the activism space, saluta continua. And that where we are, as much as it looks bad, also we need to be hopeful.
Of course.
And also to present itself with an opportunity to organize better and to see more opportunities. To see more opportunities in safeguarding SRHR work, advancing better, being innovative, but also putting space for building scenarios. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for the podcast.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.